How to become a registered nurse in Australia. If you have a nursing license in New Zealand, you can transfer your license to Australia under the Trans-Tasman Mutual Recognition Act. Now, before I go crazy and start vomiting a lot of information, if you want to become a registered nurse in Australia, you also need to know about AHPRA. And AHPRA stands for Australian Health Practitioner Regulation Authority. If this is the first time you're hearing about Trans-Tasman Mutual Recognition Act and AHPRA, that's totally fine because we will discuss this more in this video. So grab a pen, take some notes, details up next. On my previous video, I talked about how to become a registered nurse in New Zealand if you have an Australian nursing license. Now, in this video, we'll take it the other way around and I'll tell you how to become a registered nurse in Australia if you have your New Zealand nursing license. So this is all possible because of the Trans-Tasman Mutual Recognition Act. This act allows mutual registration for nurses between Australia and New Zealand. So that means if you have a New Zealand nursing registration, you can apply as a nurse in Australia and vice versa. I will write a link about this act on the description box below if you want to read more about the actual legislation. By the way, if you're just meeting, kia ora, my name is Binibining Veronica. I'm the little cop from New Zealand to Australia. I create weekly videos just like this one, so if you're new here, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. Salamat po! Needless to say, there is a whole process for internationally qualified nurses. So that means if you studied outside of Australia and obtained your nursing license outside of Australia, there is a process to follow in order to get your AURN license. If you are an overseas nurse, it's really important that you review the relevant information around visa application for immigration, registration, and employment as a nurse in Australia. To work as a registered nurse in Australia, you need to apply and be registered in the Nursing and Midwifery Board of Australia. And all of this information is available in the AHPRA website. So in comparison, in New Zealand, we have Nursing Council of New Zealand. Here in Australia, they have NMBA. And on top of that, they have AHPRA, which is the organization responsible for the implementation of the National Registration and Accreditation Scheme across Australia. When you go visit AHPRA's website, you'll see that it covers different national boards. And the Nursing and Midwifery Board is part of the list. Now, this is just a summary of the pathway for internationally qualified nurses from the AHPRA website. And you're welcome to check this out at your own time as well. Now, for applicants who have the legal authority to practice as a nurse in New Zealand, they have certain entitlements under the Trans-Tasman Mutual Recognition Act. So for these nurses, they should apply for registration with the National Board using the ATMR-40 Form. I will write a link to the relevant website in the description box below so that you can access the latest form. So please do check that out. So overall, for New Zealand nurses, we don't have to take any English test and we don't have to complete the outcome-based assessment or OBA or sit any exam. It's really just a matter of completing the form and submitting documents as outlined on that form. If you are enjoying this video, please hit like, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell so you will know when I upload new videos just like this one. Salamat po! Now, the ATMR-40 form has 10 sections, and I think it will be really good if you review the form at your own time. So I'm just looking at it on my tablet now. So to give you a heads up, you'll be asked to provide documents that prove your identity, and I think that's on the 4th section. And then at the very last section, there is a summary of documents that you may need to include. So I will provide a screenshot, maybe on this side of the screen, just for your reference, but it is still best to obviously go to AHPRA website and download the actual form and review it at your own time, because the form gets updated from time to time. So I guess it's best to check the AHPRA website directly. But I'm not sure if you'll be able to read this small screenshot here. However, at the last section, there's just a quick checklist there. Have the following items been attached or arranged if required? So if, for example, you answered yes to question number 2, details of any disciplinary proceedings, preliminary investigations, actions that may lead to disciplinary proceedings, cancellation, and or special conditions. So any additional documentation if you answered yes to question number 2. And then if you answered yes to question number 3, details of any special conditions. And then question number 6, evidence of your existing registration as a midwife in New Zealand if you are a midwife, if you're applying for midwifery. Evidence of a change of name if, for example, you got married. Certified copy of a foreign passport. Certified copies of all documents that provide sufficient evidence of your identity. And a separate sheet with your qualification details or other methods on which your registration is based. For your reference, in New Zealand, when you need your documents to be certified, you can just go see a Justice of Peace, or what we call the JP, and then you can have your documents certified in their office, and the service is free of charge. Now back to the application process, because obviously there are still fees to be paid. My friend actually recently applied for Australian registration. She is also a New Zealand nurse, and she had to pay both the application fee and the registration fee. So that's $309 plus $180, which totaled to 489 Australian dollars. I think the fee for endorsement of registration only applies to applicants applying to add an endorsement to general registration, like in cases for nurse practitioners. And just a disclaimer, the fees shown in the screenshot is just based on the form available today. Do check out AHPRA website. There may be some changes about the fees in the future. And just an important reminder, in terms of the registration period, the annual registration period for the nursing and midwifery profession in Australia is between June 1st and May 31. So if your application is made between April 1 and May 31 this year, you will be registered until May 31 next year. And regarding refund, the application fee is non-refundable. The registration fee will be refunded if the application is not approved. In terms of timeline, when my friend applied last month, she said that after submitting the form and all the required documents, she actually received her license in less than a week. In my experience, I became a registered nurse in Australia in 2015, and from memory, it felt like the application took longer than a week for me, and I also had to apply for international criminal history check. Question of the day. If you are a registered nurse with New Zealand nurse license, are you also thinking of moving to Australia? Why or why not? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed watching this video, you may also want to check out my other video outlining a quick checklist on what to consider when you're moving to a new country. Or otherwise, you can check my dedicated playlist for living abroad. I will also be creating videos about how we moved from New Zealand to Australia, and I hope that is something that will be interesting for you as well.
Living life, every day, late at night, not okay. All I want, and I pray, all I need are some better days. I'm looking in the mirror, so foggy, but I've never seen clearer. I don't really think anyone can save me, and honestly I'm not really sure I want saving. I like to be my own worst enemy. There's no risk if you don't try at anything, so I'ma just keep buying everything. See you in the next life, have to be a better me. I don't think that my head's on straight, gotta flip it and grip it and go and get an x-ray. What's wrong with me? I just feel weight pushing on my chest and it squeezes till I suffocate. Better change my mindset, meditate. It's pretty cool that I'm alive and have better days. I could walk, see, hear, I should celebrate. Think I could change my mind, maybe elevate. Living life
As always, I wish you all the best with your journey, and I hope you will be blessed. I'll see you soon. Bye!
Yeah, all I need are some better days. Cause all I want, and I pray, I believe in the better days. I'm kinda stuck between a rock and a hard place. Do I work hard or live at my pace? You're only young once, yeah that's all great, but I also want a future where I'm okay. Living life is doing lots of cocaine. Wait no, it's living with no shame. Wait no, it's sleeping in